We have never figured this out, and now the three living witnesses have to be good and fucking drunk to discuss this whole thing. I was 7, my brother was 10, and my mom was in her early 40s. My grandmother, her mom, in her 60s. So we were all cogent. No one was too young, too senile, and to not recall this nonsense, yet there's still no bloody answer. My grandma lived on an isolated country road in North Carolina that was named after her family since they were the only crazy fuckers who lived out on the land for about 1,000 acres. And I do mean crazy. We have stories about the relatives to start with. You remember the time that Uncle Bob was in the ditch with a shotgun? Oh, which time? Her house had been empty for several weeks when she'd been visiting us in Florida, but we were all back, spending the weekend with her before trekking back to the Sunshine State. The house is in the for real country, literally over train tracks, past a salvage yard, and her nearest neighbor, a cousin, everyone is related to who owns a house on the road, ain't within screaming distance. Yes, that seems to be a real system of measurement, screaming distance. It's the early AM, just before daybreak. We're awake because these farm freaks who wake at the crack of dawn are a sheer ingrained habit. We're eating cereal when we hear someone pull up outside. Curious, we all run to the big picture window that looks onto the front yard. There's a strange truck there. No one seems to be behind the wheel, though the engine is idling. The truck is, old for one thing. It's like an old-timey, maybe from the 1930s. It's like you could picture the Joad family heading to California in this thing. It's rusted, but it was probably once painted blue. We all stared at the thing, bewildered. Mom asked Grandma if she knows who that is. Nope, not a clue, says Grandma. She wants to get the phone to call her cousin and asks him to come up. She thinks maybe it's a hired hand, or maybe she's at the wrong farm. Just as she asks him to come on down, the phone goes dead. Well, that's unsettling. All at once, there's this loud, insistent banging on the front door. We all scream. My grandma, who's terrifyingly resourceful, huddles onto a living room away from a window where anyone and everyone can see us. Then, while Mom, me, and my brother tremble there on the couch, she grabs a serrated bread knife from the kitchen and cautiously approaches the front door. She peeks out the side window very stealthily. She turns back to us and looks very confused. She shakes her head like no one is there, and we all kind of breathe easier. Then every goddamn door in the house starts banging relentlessly. I can still hear it to this day, rhythmically and terrifying, like all the doors are about to splinter and crack. There were 2 doors in the basement beneath us, so the sound is also a reverberation at our feet. The 3 ground floor doors are shaking, and we can see them trembling and jerking from their hinges from our vantage point on the couch. Finally, Mom runs to the window, either from a psychotic break with her reality or terror, I have no clue. She cries, "Oh, thank Christ, cousin is here." We run to her and peek out the picture window. There's no one that we can see in the yard, but we can't see all the doors from our viewpoint. My cousin walks by the truck with a shotgun in his hand. My cousin, it should be noted, has pretty much every gun ever made. He looks puzzled looking at the rear of the truck, and he glances in the cab window and he stops. He goes pale, runs a hand down his face, and then he runs towards the house, towards us. My grandmother flings open the kitchen door, sees him coming. He shouts, "Everyone get behind the couch, get down!" He runs past us as we bolt for the couch. The banging starts again, all the doors, and now we can hear the windows rattle. It's like a tornado or the end of the world. We're too scared to even scream. My cousin flings open the front door and fires the huge shotgun once. Deafening. As he does, the truck roars into life and it sounds like a train. We scramble up. The banging stops mercifully. My cousin is advancing onto the lawn, gun leveled at the truck. We run behind him, waiting to be out of that shaking, quivering house near the dude with the gun. The truck peels out, backwards, cutting across the yard, racing it at breakneck speed. The tires squeal, the rubber starts burning. My cousin fires again and we all cower behind him. He blows out the back window with the sound of 1,000 plates smashing into titanium, but the truck never even has hiccups. It just roars down the road. No tags, not even a vanity plate on the back. There was no one behind the wheel of that thing. We all had a clear view. Everyone agreed. Not a driver in the cab. Well, not anything we could see anyhow. The police were called. Well, my cousin had to go to his house to call. This was way it was a pre-cell phone era. The phone line had been cut, and there was not a single boot print in the entire yard except for my cousin's where he'd run into and out of the house. My cousin reported that there had been no plate, but when he looked into the cabinet, it looked like something from a horror movie. He said there were all kinds of weird restraints, handcuffs, C-clamps, nylon straps, and he said the floorboards looked like they were covered in what smelled like blood to him. My cousin was famous for his keen sense of smell, and the window was down, so it's possible. He also said that he saw a blur of something out the pitch of the window and ran to fire the first shot, but he missed because once he stood there, nothing or no one was in the lawn or in the truck. Then he shot backwards out of the yard and out of our lives, leaving no answers, just a deep sense of unease every time we'd visit. My grandma and my cousin have sadly passed away. Deeply religious people, they were stuck by their unchanging versions of the story until they died. My brother, my mother, and I have never been able to figure it out, and neither did the cops. I think it should be noted, we don't know how all the windows and the doors were banging. We don't know why. We never saw a soul anywhere or how they could get around the side of the house without leaving a trace in the damp earth.